That's Car TV.
Listen, Mr. Thanksgiving DJ Drama. I ain't gonna lie. When I came to town, when I was on the plane, I had a Golden State Warriors hat on. But I had to take that shit the fuck off and put a Raptors hat on, right? It was only right. Because I knew we was going up tonight, right?
DJ Drama, first and foremost, I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
And you want to know why?
Why's that?
You don't remember this story, but 4 years ago, my first ever music video cameo was in My Moment.
Really?
And I'll show you that. It was pretty funny. So we were downstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, we were downstairs in a hotel.
Outside,
yeah, and I was a college kid at the time. I went up to Drama saying, "Hey, I'm a college kid. Can I interview?" He said yes. We got this cameo, which was pretty wicked, and it just shows, I guess, how nice of a person you are.
I appreciate that. You know, that's funny you say that because I say that, like, I tell stories a lot of times to people, like, just recently, you know, I have a record label, Generation Now.
That's right.
With a couple artists on there, and, like, you know, it's like, you know, you have your big outlets like XXL and Billboard, and then there's like college outlets that want to interview people, or like, you know, just various lower level things that you got to do, you know, along the way to success. Mm-hmm. And you know what I'm saying, I tell people, like, you know, those people that you meet early on, you know what I'm saying, go on to do great things. And I hear that every now and then. I don't want to say all the time, but I hear a lot, like, people come and say, "Yo, you were my first interview," or "Yo, I remember when I was in college and you came and you showed a lot of love." So, you know, I appreciate that. And I just, you know, I've been there. Like, I was you. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, you know, I know what it's like to be on the grind and to, you know, to try to work your way to the top.
And I got a little lucky because it was my moment. But speaking of something going on right now, big single out.
Yeah.
You got Wishing Out with Chris Brown.
Right.
Laquan's the name, right?
Laquan.
And then you got, obviously, Skemmy.
Yeah,
which is Skem. I can't pronounce these names. But yeah, how did that song come along? It's phenomenal. I love it.
The song came about, I was working in Main Street Studios, and somebody had played me the beat for the record, and Scheme and Chris were in the studio at the time. I sent it to Scheme, and you know, they sent it back with you know, pretty much, you know, the hook and a verse on it. And Quinn was an artist that, you know, we had just started working with.
Dope.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
from DC. And you know, that's pretty much how the record came together. Originally, it wasn't even supposed to be my first single, but after I kept playing it for everybody, they was just like, "Yo, this shit's crazy." So, you know, we went with it.
And I see you repping Little Uzi a lot, I think his name, right?
Uzi.
Is he signed to you?
Yeah,
Okay, that's why. Yeah.
Uzi's my artist. He signed a Generation Now.
Nice.
To myself, Don Cannon, Lake Show. We did a joint venture with Atlantic Records. So Uzi was pretty much the first artist off Generation Now, and he's going crazy.
Wow, that's phenomenal. And one thing that's great about you is you have probably like the best connections with artists in the music industry. Like, I'll go on Instagram, you're promoting people, like, you're with everybody. Yeah. And it's tough because, you know, the industry, like, it's always, you know, what happens, right? How do you always keep like these great relationships with people?
Just being genuine, and, you know, just, you know, a lot of it's just organic, you know what I'm saying? You know, people respect what I do, I respect what they do, and, you know, your relationships are everything. I mean, they're key. So, you know, I try to keep good ones.
Wow. So I'm going to test your memory right now. We're going to go back in time, some Twitter stuff from 2014. When I go on your Twitter, it's inspiration. Like, one thing you tweeted was, grown-ass men can argue, but then when they can make up and make money together, it just shows, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are some instances where maybe things didn't go right, but you repaired a relationship and you ended up making money when they're most successful? Like, I guess an instance.
I mean, probably the best one for me was probably with me and Jeezy.
Okay.
You know, me and Jeezy came up together. I don't think either of us would, you know, be where we are today if we didn't have each other. We had a falling out, you know, and we reconnected. You know, we got over it, and, you know, I consider him one of my closest friends, you know, in the business and outside of the business. Another example of that is me and Cannon. You know, me and Cannon, you know, came up like from being college DJs to, you know, to being some of the hottest DJs in the industry, and we had a falling out, and, you know, there were a couple years where we really didn't see eye to eye or speak, and, you know, it was simple. We went one day to Jersey Mike's, and a spot in Atlanta, sat down, and, you know, we back rocking like it never happened. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, that's phenomenal, because you also said you win some, you lose some. So tell me about your greatest wins and I guess the greatest losses, because with the loss, there's no win, right?
Um, loss. I guess losses. Probably when I was with Tip on the road, and we were in Cincinnati, and my friend Tip's best friend Falant had got murdered. That was a tough time. Um, the infamous raid of 2007 when they came into our studio and locked me and Cannon up.
Wow.
It was a loss, but it was a win because as much as it was a crazy time, it kind of made me more famous and put me more in the spotlight of things to come. So
Waiting on your moment.
yeah, my moment was to come. So I mean, everybody has, losses in their career or down moments, but what makes you what you are is how you deal with adversity and how you take on those challenges.
Wow, and it's funny you saying that. So going back to the college thing, there was a tweet back in the day where you said you were looking for interns for the studio, and they could obviously email you if they were in the Atlanta area. Do you still do that by any chance?
Yeah, we're actually full right now. We have like 23 interns at Mean Streets. Shout out to my whole staff at Mean Street Studios. We I don't want to say turn away, but we have so many people on staff that people come for internships, and we have to be like, yo, and when we have an opening, we'll get back to you. So it's a blessing, man. I mean, it's a spot we built from the ground up. So to be able to create that opportunity for so many people, and I remember being an intern, getting trash and doing things like that, and now to run my own studio in Atlanta, which is it's such the vibe, it's such part of the culture. It's amazing to see how far we've all come.
Now we're gonna get to some picto blast. We're gonna have some fun. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is a really cool photo you posted on Instagram recently. And what were you guys wishing about here? I guess we could say. What was going on here? So hold this up and tell me what was going on.
Actually, we were Breezy was showing me the new designs for Black Diamond, and we was just talking about some of the fly shit he got coming out.
Dope. Now this photo here is symbolic,
Yes.
and you want to know why? Because there's a relation with you and Farrakhan. Something. So yeah, tell me that story about the uncle. Yeah.
Well, my uncle was in the Nation of Islam. John Ali. He was head of security for a period of time, and I mean, pretty much, a lot of my bloodline was part of the Nation. My cousin Maria Ali, who's John Ali's daughter. I mentioned this to Farrakhan at that moment. A lot of my family. I was like, my uncle is John Ali, and this was my first time actually getting to meet Farrakhan, personally. So he had heard of me. People had told him like, yo, you got to meet DJ Drama, but he had no idea that we had that connection. So that was deep. So yeah, I grew up with knowing how important my family was in the nation, fruit of Islam and what have you, and hearing old stories about Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad and the Minister Farrakhan.
That's crazy, man. So you're a part of history.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And another crazy one. So you had a relationship with the mother of Tupac as well, right?
Yeah.
So hold that photo.
Yeah,
And yeah, especially after what just recently happened. But yeah, tell me.
Rest in peace, Afeni Shakur. I have two really interesting stories. The first, I never actually got to meet Tupac. He's one of the only people I've never met, him and Biggie. But I used to have dreadlocks before I moved to Atlanta, and Tupac's younger sister is the one who braided my hair for them to later turn into dreads. We were on like a youth camp retreat over the summertime. She used to talk about Pac all the time. So yeah, that's one story. And the next story is after I got out of school, I got a call to do the Shakur family reunion. So I had, and it was right around the time when Geronimo Pratt, who was a close friend of Afeni's, had just gotten out of prison. So I got the opportunity to go to the Shakur house, the house that Pac bought for his mom, and I DJ'd the family reunion. And at the time I wasn't DJ Drama yet. Absolutely. So I just was like excited to be there, and feeling like, wow, like I'm at Pac's crib. I'm Pac's mom, and she said some really nice things to me. She was like, Pac would have loved your spirit, and I just like, just really kind words. So, it was special to have that moment with her.
It's funny you say that because everything's, I guess, destined to be the way things added up, I guess, before you became DJ Drama, right?
Absolutely. I mean, things, you never know where life's going to take you. But, I kind of, I feel like in some ways I was destined for this.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got 4 more, another one. So this was something you really liked on Instagram, and you said you always go to this page to get some gems about the hip hop. So tell me about this page, because I didn't know about it, but I'm definitely going to check on it.
Well, I'll be Square is just like he was just like he's an iconic figure in hip hop. I mean, when it comes to fashion, when it comes to, the golden era of hip hop, I'll be Square was, he was there, you know what I'm saying? So I go to his page just to get a lot of jewels about, just early history. I mean, you go to his page, you see pictures of Young 50, you see pictures of Rich Porter, you see, just pictures just like this of Rakim and Chuck D, and, he has everything on his page, Dougie Fresh, Biz Markie, everything, and he has stories, and, I just think a lot of times when it comes to hip hop, we document our stories a lot, so it doesn't leave the generations forward, enough for them to know, you know what I'm saying? So, I salute to Albie Square just for being able to, for running his page and telling the stories, and all his pictures on his page are pre-social media, like they're really, he puts up really real old classic pictures, that if you're a fan of the culture, like you can't not love it.
Does he have drama with the dreads by any chance?
Nah, because
No?
that was before.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the game then. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So he wouldn't have that. They started to call me like a young OG, but I'm not. I'm
That old?
These guys got a couple.
A little
years.
older, yeah.
They got some years on me.
So we got 3 more. This was a really cool photo. You went on a trip recently,
Yeah.
and I think that's with your girlfriend, right?
Yeah,
Is that
this
it?
Me and Jessica Versiato.
It looked crazy, man.
Grand
Talk about
Canyon.
how, I guess, that experience was, the
That
Grand
was
Canyon.
fun. That was Jessica's first time. I took my mom. I took my kids. My mom had taken me to the Grand Canyon probably when I was like 21 for the first time. So, the Grand Canyon is just one of those places that you gotta witness. You gotta see. It's not something you can see on television or in a something with some 3D glasses. You just gotta see it
Absolutely.
in real life for you to understand, like, why it's one of the wonders of the world. So, it was a fun trip. We had a good time and we went on a raft ride, and
Wow.
this is us just kicking it.
Yeah,
What's
that
up,
looked
baby?
And 2 more. This is really funny. Some humor on the Instagram. So
yeah.
yeah. So who made that? I guess we should give. You don't know?
This was when Richard Sherman, when they went. This is when Seattle was going
They beat San Francisco, the
to
Crabtree
go
thing, right?
to go to the Super Bowl, and he was talking wild. He was talking crazy, and I guess they just like when people talk loud, they make it synonymous with DJ Drama. So they put my face on they put my head on his face.
And you know what? It's funny we end the last photo on this because I started off in my moment. We end off on my moment.
Yeah, niggas
So
be like,
that's amazing, right?
Yeah. Niggas be like just waiting on my moment, but he's sitting on the couch with pizza and some cookies. This is what I didn't have in mind when I made the song. This is you waiting for a long time on your moment. It might come, and your moment might be to be a TV critic, you know what I'm saying? So that was a big record, man, you know what I'm saying? That was
Absolutely.
my first gold record. I shot the video out here in Toronto.
Not too far from
Yeah, I shot it right down the street during Caravan and during OVO Fest. We were all out here. So I actually saw the video the other day, and I was like, wow,
You didn't see me in it though, did you?
I'm now I am, because now I know.
Hey, it's like 0.2 seconds.
I saw you, but now I know it's you. So.
Yeah, I look different. I have short hair and glasses on.
But Toronto's a place I love. I've been coming here for years. You know what I'm saying? I love the culture. I love the vibe. I love that. It's so many eyes are on the city now with so much talent and so much music that's coming out of here. Of course, shout to OVO and how they were able to open the doors, and what the Weeknd's doing, and Tory Lanez, and I mean, I could go on for days. You know what I'm saying? But it's dope. You know what I'm saying? I mean, anybody who's ever come here you know, knows how much culture is here. And, you know, in the States, it's like, yo, you got to go to Toronto.
It's like that there, eh?
Of course,
Wow.
you got to go to Toronto. So, you know, to now see that you guys are, you know, very impactful. I mean, the All-Star game was just here, and you know, I mean, it's a staple, and it's definitely a staple when it comes to music now. You know, so it's for me, somebody who's been coming here for over 10 years, you know, to know that, you know, the city it gets its respect. I mean, it's good to see, and you know, so for me to have a record like Waiting on My Moment and know that, you know, it has a special place even for here, for me to have done the video here, like, it's just dope.
Yeah, and it's a record that's going to be playing forever. I think it's something you can play at weddings. It's just a really big record.
Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, and yeah, so that's about it. Album should be coming really soon, right?
It's coming.
Because the single was out. I mean, when Drama drops a single, an album's coming. So
Yeah, look for it. Quality Stream Music too.
no dates.
It's on the way.
All right, thank you.
Hold up, I got so much shit to do tonight. Oh my God! I don't know where to start, man. There's so much shit. I want to go crazy. Let's get to it. We said, when you hear my name, put some respect on it.